Well, good morning. Today is Friday, November 15th, and we have two birthdays today. Today is Diane McDaniel's birthday, so Diane, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Diane. Happy birthday to you. Cha-cha-cha. It's also Michelle over at The Average J. Today's Michelle's birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Michelle. Happy birthday to you. Cha-cha-cha. Well, I hope you both have a great, great birthday today. It's it's not very early, but it's early for me. This is about what time I would have normally got out of bed. But Danny called me this morning, and he asked me if I would come over to the school for Oliver because he has a headache and he needed some ibuprofen. And they're not allowed to give medication out. So I had to drive 17 miles to give him 2 ibuprofen. Don't get me started on he can't have a sex change. He can go to school in the morning and be a boy and come home after school and be a girl. But I have to drive 17 miles to bring him 2 ibuprofen. I don't get it. But anyhow, so my little political thing there. I know I try not to be political, but that, to me, I just found, of all of the things to go by, I thought that was one of the most ridiculous ones myself. But anyway, Jim's been in his blind since before the sun came up because they're not allowed to shoot anything till the sun comes up. So he was all ready. He didn't want to spook him. So I don't know. And he has a trail camera. He had a really big buck go by his camera a couple times. So I'm assuming the buck hasn't passed by today yet, because otherwise I would have got a message from him that he's got something. One time he called me while he was in his blind, and he says, just a minute. And then I heard a boom. And then he got back, and he says, well, I got to go. I got a deer. So anyway, I don't eat any of that. I don't like venison, and I don't like the smell. And I know it's just a matter of the seasoning and how they cook it and blah, 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 and all that. I have tried it. I just don't like it. I've tried the sausages because I do like a sausage. I didn't like the sausage. I did try a burger once. I did try it in chili. I could take it or leave it in the chili, I guess. I guess I could, but anyway. And then he made a roast. Now, my kids all love venison. So when I was working at Montgomery Ward's, on the nights that I worked late and Jim was in charge of making the meals, he would make venison. And my kids loved it. I would just go over to Lozen's Deli right behind us and pick something up for my dinner when I was at work. Or I'd pack something and bring it while I was going. Because, no. It's not for lack of trying. But there's a wild game restaurant I'm surprised Jim hasn't said to go there lately, that does serve, which I call normal food. And, they sell like all wild game, like elk and deer and bear and ostrich and giraffe and all of that good stuff. Well, it's not good stuff. I don't like it, but you know what I mean. But they also sell like cows and pigs and chickens. But, you know what? If we ever do meet up, Joan, you can bring your eggs, but I'm going to leave them in the refrigerator till they're like really old, like a store-bought egg. I like a factory egg. There is a difference. I will admit there is a difference in taste as far as fresh eggs as opposed to store-bought eggs. But I prefer the taste of store-bought factory eggs. I know they're not made in a factory. Well, somewhat. I think it's like a factory line with these chickens. Okay, 1 minute. We got to get on the expressway, and this is like I don't understand the planners when they did this. It was like, you're on. It's like, I think that they should give you a little leeway to get on just in case somebody doesn't let you on. At this time of day, though, it's not so bad, but later on in the day, it would be hard. And then also, the difference in a fresh chicken or a fresh turkey, as far as eating it, is now, I'll eat that, as long as I don't have to hunt it or whatever. But my mother would always pick, we used to go to this place called Vergoti's in Detroit that had fresh chickens and fresh turkeys. We used to have chicken on Sundays. I don't know why, just on Sundays, but we only had chicken on Sundays. And then we'd have turkey, obviously, on Thanksgiving and Christmas. And I went with her one time when she was picking out a turkey, and then the guy was trying to grab one in the front. My mother says, no, I want one of the ones way in the back. And he says, well, you don't want one of the ones way in the back. And she said, yeah, those are the ones that are a little bit, they're a little bit more knowledgeable. Oh, no, I take that back. She picked the ones in the front, not the ones in the back. Because she said the ones in the back had figured out the plan that they were going to be grabbed. And so they went to the back of the cage, and so they weren't as fresh. The ones in the front of the cage hadn't figured out that they were in there for the kill. And so she always wanted the one in the front of the cage, because she said they were just put in there. They weren't wise to the system yet. So that. But I remember we went one time, and we went to pick it up, and when I was carrying it out, it was still warm. I was like, ooh, I didn't like that. Didn't stop me from eating the turkey, though. I ate it. By the time it was cooked, I thought, I didn't really care. And then when my dad would go to Boston, he'd always bring home fresh lobster. And Mrs. Colella, who lived next door, would come over and cook it. But before she would cook it, we'd have it on the floor, walking around having little races and stuff. And then I remember the first time I didn't realize you cook them alive. We were like, oh, I've never had lobster. When she put it in the pot and I heard it screaming, I thought, no, I've never had. I think I might have tasted lobster one time. I take that back. I tasted it one time when we went to, what's the name of that place that Mary loves? Red Lobster. We went to Red Lobster with my cousin Paul and Kathy and their son Michael. And Michael told me I had to taste some of his lobster. So I took a little taste of his lobster. Wasn't impressed. I was more impressed with the lobster biscuits. So we're trying to eat lobster made, but the Red Lobster biscuits, which I know you can buy the box in the grocery store. So, yeah, okay. Then I was talking to Denise last night. I can't wait till they remodel my Kroger's. My Kroger's is so beyond filthy. It's just disgusting. But the nearest, other than Meijer's, which I don't shop at Meijer's, you know that. But the nearest grocery store after that is probably about 8 or 9 miles away, which doesn't seem like that much, but just to go get groceries, when the other one's only like a mile away. But anyway, Denise went there yesterday, and she goes, where she's moved, she lives near the Super Kroger, which is pretty brand new, and it's really, really nice. I'd have to agree with her. It's way nicer. And she says, I don't want to offend you, but I couldn't. I only went to your Kroger's because I was over that way. She says, that was disgusting. And I said, don't I know it? It's like, even when it's sad, but when I buy anything off the shelves, I always look at the expiration dates because it's just, it's bad. But the health department hasn't closed it down, so I guess it can't be as bad as I think it is. So, going to watch some YouTube videos today. I got a couple shows I want to watch that I taped last night. I have a new, I don't have the book with me, obviously. It's by James Patterson, and it only has James Patterson's name on it. So I think he writes the Alex Cross mysteries himself, but it's an Alex Cross mystery. And so far it's pretty good. I brought it with me when I brought Birdie yesterday for her eye appointment. So, and then on Prime I started to watch Cross, which is about Alex Cross, and they dropped all the episodes, and so I was going to watch all of them last night. I started watching the first one, which I really, really liked. It was really suspenseful. So I started watching that, and then Denise called, and I started talking to her, so I turned the TV off. And then when I turned the TV back on, I forgot I was watching that, so I started watching like my usual Thursday night shows, like my Law and Orders, and then I watch Ghosts. And then I watch, okay, this is, I don't know why I watched the show. It's been on for like 25 years or something like that, Grey's Anatomy. How many other people watch Grey's Anatomy and just think it's ridiculous, but they still watch it? It's ridiculous, and I still watch it. Anna Hooser, one of the people, spoiler alert, one of the people that's one of the interns gets into an accident, and she's like on life support, and her sister's on life support, and blah, 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 all that. They just had major operations, and they're both in intensive care. And so all of the interns that are buddies are all in the one girl's room. And then all of a sudden they hear a code blue to her sister's room. And so none of them are working. They're all just interns. They're in intensive care after the surgery. And they rush over to the room, and They start giving her CPR and doing that clear, that thing, and then giving her the bringer's lactate or whatever it is that they give them to get their heart beating and that. And then he's doing the manual CPR. And then casually, the two surgeons that did the operation are casually walking by, and they look in and they see that there's a problem going on. And then they said, well, what's going on? And he said, we've been working on her. And they go, for how long? And he said, for 40 minutes. He's been administering CPR for 40 minutes. And they go, well, no, she's, declare her dead, whatever. Sorry if you haven't seen the show yet. But anyway, I did give you a warning. I said, spoiler alert. Anywhooser, my question is, she's in intensive care, and interns are administering life-saving CPR for 40 minutes, and no real doctors showed up. I mean, I know they're real doctors, but you know what I'm saying. They're under supervision, and no real doctors show up. And then the two surgeons that performed the surgery just kind of casually are walking by. It was just kind of blew my mind. But will I watch it again next week? Yeah, I will. So I'll watch that. So anyway, this was a nice little chat. This was like you can see, this was not a close thing to bring a couple ibuprofen. I asked them, I said, can I just leave the bottle and fill out a form? And they said, yes. So I called Danny, and I said, they said I could fill out a form and leave this in case he needs it again in the future. And so he says, yeah, fill out the form. So I filled out the form so that if he ever needs it in the future, they can just administer it. They would call Danny first to make sure it's okay that they give it to him. But there's a form, and then the medication is already there. Just, And then you have to go through so much, which I understand, but you have to go through so much security. I had to bring up buzzer so that they could see it. Then I had to show my driver's license to the camera so that they could verify it was me. Then I had to hold my picture of on my license up to my face so that they could compare it. And then when I went in, they had to see it again just to make sure that it really was me. And I'm thinking, how sad. When I went to school, we had the windows open. It's like anybody could walk in. We actually, on voting days, people came in and voted. Because we didn't have gym on that day because all the voting machines were in the gym. But I know, it's sad the world our children live in now, and my grandchildren. It's just sad. Things are so different. And I'm sure things are way, way different from when my grandmother was young. Although I wouldn't know. I didn't know my grandmother. She never really wanted to have anything to do with us. But I think that's one of the reasons I try to be a really good grandma. My mother was an excellent grandma. So if I could be like that much of how good my mother was as a grandma, I think I'm doing a good job. I think I do a pretty good job as being a grandma. I do. Not to brag, but I really think I do. So I think I'm going to go. I need to go to Kroger's. What do you think if I need anything? I don't think I need anything. I'm going to go. I should go now. I have bananas. I have things. Oh, yeah, I'm going to go. I want to get some soup for my dinner. I don't know. I got all kinds of soup in the freezer. That sounds silly. But if it's on sale, I like the Panera is on sale usually. And so if I can get some Panera soup, get that cheaper, I think I might just do that. I'm going to avoid the donut counter. I'm not going to get any donuts. I know that. That's not what I need. Stay away from the donuts. Back away from the donuts, Sandy. So, all right, well, I think that's going to do it for today. If I was still driving home, I have another 5 minutes before I'm home. So you can see it's like a 20-minute drive to bring him 2 ibuprofen. But I did it because I love my grandson, and he didn't look that bad that he really needed it. So, but he couldn't have been too bad because when Danny called me, he says if he tries to tell you he needs to go home, he doesn't. I saw him this morning, and he was fine. So I said, okay. He never asked, but I don't know. I probably would have brought him home if he would have asked. That's just who I am. I know that. But okay. Like, comment, subscribe, and share, and let's talk again tomorrow.